Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. I'm Beth. Today we are going to be setting up my new Sterling Ink Common Planner as my bullet journal, so let's go ahead and get started. If you are new here, and a number of you are now that I am moving into the Sterling Ink Common Planner, I was on a little bit of a journey in 23 with my bullet journal, starting to phase out of having the heavy artistic elements in my particular journal. Also looking for a journal that had some structure to it, and I landed on the Common Planner. I'm still going to be using the bullet journal method in here. I did pick the A5 full year Common Planner that is dated, though I do have the months at the beginning, the weeks in the middle, and then the big draw for me was all of these blank pages where I could continue to bullet journal with as much space as I need for the year and hopefully keep everything in this one planner. That's what we are going to go ahead and set up today. Another one of the things that I'm very well known for in the bullet journal community is my annual themes. I like to have an overarching theme to my journal. I have selected a theme, even though we're moving into the Common Planner, and that theme for 2024 is going to be based off of one of my favorite books that I read in 2023, 10,000 Doors of January, and that is the theme that I'm going with for my bullet journal, Common Planner, everyday carry, whatever you want to call this, for 2024. So first off, I've already gotten something on it that I've managed to clean off, but I did also pick up the Common Planner plastic cover, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do to encase this thing so that I don't tear it to pieces, because I'm used to having a hardcover and very excited about moving into this, but we got to talk about what it's going to look like. I do have the plastic case. This is going to look great in the ring light, I'm sure, but I have some other options. This is the current cover that I'm using in my bullet journal. This is from Galen Leather. It is A5. It's a green leather cover. I moved out of a different cover and into this one for the most ridiculous reason ever, but let me grab that cover. I moved out of the camel covered one that has more pockets and things on the inside because I do live very deeply in the buckle of the Bible Belt, and people kept asking me if I was carrying my King James Version Bible around with me. I was like, no, I'm not. The third option I have is that there have already been enough sneak peeks from the Archer and Olive quarterly subscription box for December of 2023 that I know that there is a cover in that one that is more my taste than some of the other covers that they have done. I might use that cover, but I'm filming this too early on to know if that's going to be the cover that I use. Now, anticipating that I would move into, at least for a little bit, the plastic cover, I have seen people paint on their Common Planners, especially with the Archer and Olive acrylographs. That seems to work great. I didn't want to commit to anything permanent at this point, and so I did create a printable. I'm going to be using printables throughout this setup to decorate my journal. No hand drawings in here, but I do still want it to be pretty, so I have created some printables. And if you saw my December plan with me in my current journal, I am launching a Patreon. Absolutely no pressure for anyone. One of the reasons that I've done this because it allows me to set up an online shop without jumping through some of the other bells and whistles of Etsy and that sort of thing. If you would like the public version of the printables that I'm going to be using today, they will be available on my Patreon. You can check in the link below and you can pick that up. You can buy it separately without subscribing to Patreon at all. If you're interested in those, they are fussy cut. You're going to have to fussy cut them like I fussy cut them. But if you do like what you see, feel free to go ahead and grab those. Now, I printed my cover on vellum, and so this is what my cover looks like based off of the cover art from the book 10,000 Doors of January. I sized it to hopefully fit inside this so that we can put the journal in there. I'm going to go ahead and get that tucked in and we'll be right back. So that does tuck directly in there. I printed it on vellum just to give it a little bit more substance than regular paper. I also just got out my gold Clearo watercolors, these right here, and gave the rim and some of the keys just some extra zhuzh, just a little extra something. But we're going to get this out of the way and get to the meat of the journal, and at some point, maybe by the time we get to my January setup, we will see what cover I have on this particular common planner. Okay, and since I'm not going to do anything on the cover, we are going to jump right into the inside. And I have given myself little pencil marks of where I want things to go, because again, I am working with printables for this setup. All of the quotes that you see will come from the book 10,000 Doors of January, and I chose my name for the journal. I always name my bullet journal from a character from 10,000 Doors of January, so we're going all in on the 10,000 Doors of January theme. And the first printable that I made is this: "May she wander but always return home. May all her words be written true. May every door lie open before her." And again, that comes from the book. I'm going to go ahead and erase my little quote here so that it doesn't show through. If you do choose to download these printables, you can print them on any kind of sticker paper. I am experimenting for the first time with a washi sticker paper because I didn't want to bulk this up too terribly much. This is going to be a crapshoot for me to see how I get this peeled off and into the journal, and if I can get it in there in any sort of a straight fashion. I've played with the offcuts to see how easy it is for me to peel off and get positioned. But again, if you're not new here, you know that once I get it down, I just go with it. I don't try to fix it. We just live with it. But if you are new here, you're going to learn that about me, that things may not go in perfectly, and that's okay, because you're just going to live with it after that. You don't have to go above and beyond or glue pages together to get past that little mistake, because this is real life. We're going to go ahead and see if I can get this peeled off and get this stuck right here in the cover. We are going to treat this like wallpaper. I have peeled just a little section of it down. I'm going to try to get it approximately where I want it, pushing on the non-sticky side, and then I will push up. We will get that into place, and then I will just peel down and smooth as we go. And I have a couple of crinkly bits. But what did I say? I said we're not going to worry about it. Just smooth them out as need be. If you get any really big bubbles, you can always just take a pin. It works with contact paper, wallpaper. Take a pin and poke a little hole, let the air out, and you can smooth some of those wrinkles. I do like the fact that it's super thin and that it does match with the cover. Now, what have I named my journal? Here I have written name. Here I have written return to, because I've made myself a little return to plate. Here are those stickers. So this is going to be my please return to, and I'm just going to stick that right there. This is the name of my journal, and it is Irimu. One of the things that I love about the 10,000 Doors of January book, without giving too much away, it is a portal fantasy taking you through many doors. Obviously, it's in the title. And our character, January, is assigned a protector by her father, and that protector's name is Jane, and she is from Kenya. And I was raised in Kenya. Not only was I raised in Kenya, I was raised in the highlands of Kenya, where Jane comes from. Jane's surname is Irimu, and she takes that surname from a fictional tribe of leopard warrior women that she finds by going through one of these fantasy portal doors. Then at some point in time, she ends up back on our world and takes this tribal name as her surname. And I love those leopard warrior women, and I love Jane because she was raised in the same highlands of Kenya where I was raised. I am naming my journal for 2024 Irimu, which is that surname. I thought about Jane. I also thought about Sinbad or Bad, which is January's trusty dog, because I do love me a pet. But eventually this is the name that I landed on. We're going to go ahead and put in please return to, so that I can put my name and contact information in here as well. And for this one, I'm going to start at the bottom and then try to slide it up to get it to go in neatly. All right, try to align it with the bottom best we can. Looks like I'm going to have a little corner that wants to stick up, but that's okay. We can cut a bubble. All right, just get that bubble smoothed down a little bit. I do have some additional florals and keys. Again, these flowers coming from the art that's on the front of the original cover design, so I did not design these flowers. These came from the book design. I definitely wanted to use them for this particular setup to have that strong tie-in to the book. I just arranged them in different ways than they are on the book cover and added in a bunch of different keys on Canva. So I do have these extra florals that I can cut out and decorate around once I get my original bigger pieces in place first. That takes care of the end pages for this common planner. Turning to the next page, and here we have a blank page as well as the 2024 title page. This is that page that is where the journal is glued to the binding, so it's always a little weird to put down. I am going to go ahead and put my key here. I don't necessarily need my key for reference, but I couldn't resist the urge to create a pretty key printable. This is what my key looks like. If you download the public version of these printables, this box is empty so that you can fill in your own key. We are going to put this key right down here in this corner. The one thing I can say about this washi sticker paper is that it is much easier to smooth out because it's so thin. It's much easier to smooth out a bubble when you do get one. And then over here, we're gonna leave this for now. This doesn't mean that I'm not gonna come along later in the year and decide I want to put something else on this side, but for now we're gonna leave it with the key. I'm gonna put my word of the year and then a quote about words as well. And I haven't tried to train this binding, obviously, to get it to lay completely flat yet. Okay, these are not the easiest to work with once they are peeled off. I did not measure the center of this. We are just going with our instincts and sticking it where we can stick it. My word of the year is equipoise, which is a balance of forces or interest, or a balance or counterbalance of something. That is one of the things that I have been working towards in my life, is having a lot more balance. And so that is the word that I have chosen for 2024. The quote that I have to go with it is also, like I said, a quote from the book. Words and their meanings have weight in the world of matter, shaping and reshaping realities through a most ancient alchemy. And we are just going to put that here-ish, and then I'm going to put a few flowers around here just to tie in this. Since it is my first year with a common planner, I decided I wanted to leave this. I didn't want to cover that up. Might have just messed that up if it is stuck to itself. Because it stuck. Some of the text did transfer. This is a learning opportunity. We're learning what works and what doesn't work, and it will be just fine. I am going to clip this clip over here to get our left side to stay down a little more. In fact, I think I'm going to do it on both sides. And then we're going to explore some of the things I have here and see if I can put any of this in and around our wording here. By the way, if you don't know, Catherine with Sterling Ink, who is the creator of the Common Planner, creates beautiful floral washi stickers that she sells. Definitely wanted to have the vibe from this book, which is why I created my own. But you can definitely order some just stunning stickers from Catherine. Okay, that is it for the key and the word of the year. Turning over to the next page, and this moves on to the year at a glance and another blank page. For this blank page, I am going to put in my vision board. A couple of weeks ago, I released a video on unique updates to your annual pages that you could do in a bullet journal, and I'm taking my own advice on one of those. I made my vision board interactive. I have added in some QR codes to some meditations or some TED Talks that I love, different things that would inspire me throughout the year, along with the general aesthetic of my vision board. And like that last full page sticker, we're going to try to get this in here as straight as we can without too many bubbles. Normally I prop something under a new journal here to give it a little more structure, and I had forgotten to do that. I'm going to stick this Archer & Olive acrylograph box. This actually has my different colored microns in it, but I'm going to stick it under there just to give us some stability as we move forward and hold that in place. Now, I am going to use my calendar at a glance as a lunar calendar. To do that, I'm going to use some dot markers. I'm going to do this in gold and black. Now, my black is a Zig Clean color. My gold is a Shuttle Art from Amazon. When I bought a pack, the Zig didn't have a gold in it and I wanted a gold. And we're going to need the assistance of some post-it notes and a cheat sheet. Here are some bright green post-it notes. We're going to use the green because they're ugly and I don't use it for anything else. And we're going to use these to make our half markers for the moons for the first quarter and the last quarter. The full moon and the new moon, we're just going to make dots on. And like I said, I have a cheat sheet. I downloaded this off of calendars.net, maybe? Question mark. And we are just going to follow those to make our dots. So I'm going to start with the new moons since they are black, and we're starting on January 11th. And yes, the black will block it all the way out. And if I'm gentle enough, I tend to be heavy-handed, but if I'm gentle enough, it might shadow a little bit, but it's not going to bleed through. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the full moons. Once our gold full moons are dry, I'm going to start doing some half moons, and that is what the post-it note is for. And we are going to start with the first quarter moons, which means the black will be on the left side, and in January it is on the 18th. So I just want to cover up half of the 18th and put down my little dot like that, and then we'll come back around in a little bit and put the gold on the other side. And I'm going to do all of the first quarter moons, and then I'm going to come across and do the last quarter moons, and then we can come across and do the other half in gold. Now I am realizing I could have done just solid black dots and that the gold would have covered it up. Two things there: one, I would have had a little bit more bleed through from the double up of the ink, and two, if I had that many solid black dots that all looked like new moons, I really would have confused myself, even with the cheat sheet. So we went ahead and just did the halves, and we'll go in and do the other half with gold.
One eternity later.
Alright, so that was an experiment that could have gone a little bit better. You don't know until you try. I have figured out that I can clean up some of these edges with a black pigment micron, make things look a little bit neater, or even with the thin end of the gold dot marker. Maybe that's something that I'll play with in the future. As it is, I can tell what they are. I guess that's the important thing, more than the aesthetic. I am going to go ahead and add some flowers to this that match our aesthetic. You can see I added some of the flowers from the 10,000 Doors of January book cover to my vision board as well. But I'm going to stick in a few here. I did get a little bit of gold paint down here, so I'm going to cover that up and give it a little bit more vibrance than just being a calendar at a glance. And again, to do that, we're just going to cut those out of this particular sheet. Okay, I think that is it for now. We are going to move our dot markers out of the way. I can come in here with a stencil and clean up some of my my moons for later. Give them a little bit of an outline and it'll be fine. We are ready to move on to the next page, and this is a spread of the graph, and on this side I am going to do an index, and this side I am going to do a someday maybe list, but I am going to call it doors because they are doors that I might open and they are doors that I might not open. And these are going to be super simple. I'm going to divide both pages in half. The Sterling Ink Common Planner does come with a teeny tiny dot on both of the half marks. I am probably going to put a grid guide in the back because this is a planner that I've never been in before, so that I know what my count is for when I get to my daily pages. But for now, we're just going to draw a single line down the middle of both. To do that, these are already light gray lines, so I am going to use a gray, very thin Pigma Micron and see if I can darken it up just a little bit, because I don't want it to be too garishly different. I don't want it to be a stark black or anything like that. But I do want to have it stand out just a little. And that will be just enough. Let's see if I can get this one since it is on this weird side. I think that'll work just great. I do need to erase my index and doors. I could have used post-it notes to stick those things in. It's just easier for me to just sketch it in really easy with pencil as I'm assigning what's gonna go where. And then because these aren't labeled, I did print in the swirly swoo font doors and index. I'm gonna cut those out and stick those there. And then I have a quote for each one as well. I'll just put on the opposite side. So here is doors and here is index. This is another one that folded back on itself, so I got a little bit of ink there, but we're just gonna stick one of our little flower stickers there and cover that up. All right, and then we will stick this little flower right there. I need to trim just a teeny bit overhanging. I don't even know if I can get that. Yep, got it. And like I said, this will be my index. One side should be plenty for me. And this will be my someday maybe list. I'm constantly coming up with ideas of things that I want to do, not necessarily videos I want to make, but just wild hair things Beth wants to do. And I always need to park it somewhere for a little bit while I mull that over and figure out what's next. Okay, moving on to the next spread in the Sterling Ink Common Planner, and we get to our goal breakdown. Those who've been here for a minute know that I have an elemental system now to setting my goals. So I have 5 life domains that are based off of the elements. And so this has 6 columns, 4 life domains, and then your goals of someday, 1 year, half year, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. I am only going to use 5 of those, so I will put some decoration down here at the bottom. These are the symbols that I created for my earth element, or for my elements. This one is earth, which is my grounding element, and then I have the others that are here. I'm going to stick those symbols in these 5 spots. I do have an introductory video on my elemental system. You are welcome to go check that out. I do want to do more. This is an ever-evolving system for me. It is something that I am building for myself from the ground up. And clearly it has resonated with some of you and you want to know more about it. And as I know more about it, you'll know more about it because it is evolving. I do have an elemental tier on my Patreon. And the reason that I created that is because if you are interested in helping me develop and flesh out in more detail this elemental system, then that is the place for us to build that very specific community. It is the highest paid tier for that, and there's a limited number of spots because I wouldn't want to get overwhelmed and not give that community the attention that it deserves for that higher price. There are my 5 life areas: earth, wind, fire, water, spirit, grounding, contributing, connecting, thriving, discovering. Essentially, grounding is hearth and home, contributing is career and creativity, connecting is relationships, thriving is health and wellness, and discovering is my spirit and spiritual things. And then I have a number of quotes that I've created. I'm going to put one of them down here, or maybe here, an ephemera there. And maybe that's what we'll do. I have suddenly remembered that I have some gold stickers that are keys, and of course you see the key imagery all the way through this. I'm going to use one of those on this page as well. All right. For this page, we're going to use the quote, "It turns out that once you begin, habit and memory keep your body moving in the right direction, like a wound up clock ticking dutifully through the seconds." And I have sized that to be able to fit approximately there. It went a little crooked, like I said, that's okay. And then keys. So I have these sticker keys. Lots of them. They'll be very shiny in the ring light. I'm liking this size. I think I'm going to stick this over here and then layer it with some of our florals. This will be something that we fill out at a different time, a different video. Oh, I do need to erase, have my earth, wind, water, and spirit written down here down the side. And we go from here into the quarterlies. I am still trying to figure out exactly what this quarterly vibe is going to look like. But I am going to stick a sticker down here. Otherwise, I'm just not sure what this first quarter, it'll be probably some kind of a habit tracker. I'm not 100% what that's going to be yet, but I'm going to stick this sticker and the other ones that I had made on the subsequent quarters. So we'll go ahead and do that. This is another one that managed to flip back and get stuck on itself. That's all right. And those quotes that we just put down are, "I wanted wide open horizons and worn shoes and strange constellations spinning above me like midnight riddles. I wanted danger and mystery and adventure." Word magic comes at a cost, you see, as power always does. Words draw their vitality from their writers, and thus the strength of a word is limited by the strength of its human vessel. And I'd like to leave you with the rising suspicion that lingering in the half-light at the edges of your vision, your door is waiting for you, and I'd like to give you the courage to run through it. And finally, thresholds are dangerous places, neither here nor there. And walking across one is like stepping off the edge of a cliff in the naive faith that you'll sprout wings halfway down. You can't hesitate or doubt. You can't fear the in-between. And then we jump straight into the monthlies and the weeklies. I am going to, in this setup, go ahead and put tabs on. I really thought about doing different color tabs because I have a whole bunch of these. Some of them are gradient, some of them are solid colors. Let's try to see if I can find, oh, they're there. So I originally was going to do January, where's February here? February in pink, March in green, and I just decided I'm going to do them all in white. These do come with monthly, weekly, daily. I don't know what freely means. I don't know what that's all about, but I am going to use monthly and weekly. I'm not going to use daily. For my daily tab, I like to use the ultra tabs. So maybe I can cut this off so that it matches and stick my daily on the ultra tab. I use the ultra tab like a thumb tab, and that's one of those things that I got from Rachel in Theory. Brilliant, but of course it's repositionable. I always cut a little bit of it off so it doesn't encroach so much into the journal. And then when one starts to wear out, I can always replace it pretty easily. But let's see if we can get monthly on here. I don't know how much I'm going to use December. I know that Catherine puts December in here and then we jump into January. I guess I'm just going to put the monthly tab here, and then we will do the weekly tab at the end of the month up here, and then I'm going to put the tabs for the months down the side of the weeklies. So like all of January is in one chunk, and then February, and then March. That's where I'm going to put my monthly tabs. I'm not going to put them here on the monthly section, if that makes sense. And I'm terrible at putting on tabs. I'm not even sure how well those will hang on. If they don't hang on, I will get some Midori brass tabs or something, and we will stick those on there instead. But It looks fine for a monthly tab. I also like these because they're malleable. They're not super stiff. So they just go with the flow, so to speak. Let's grab this weekly one and see if we can get it positioned in the right spot. Right. So monthly is right there. Go weekly right there. Will that work? Yep. All right. Not too bad. I don't know if y'all can see that. It is very light gold, especially on the white. But that's the one I decided I wanted for this particular journal. Nice and neutral. And then we are going to do the months. So this will be January. And I guess I'm just going to try to stick it right on where the month marker is, because maybe that will help me keep them in line. These are also numbered on the back, so it's January on one side and 1 for the month on the other side. So if you ever wanted something where you just wanted to number the tabs, you could do that. This also takes ink pretty well. I didn't have any red options, and so I used a Tombow on this thinking that my December would be red, and it worked perfectly great. So if you get the lighter ones, you can actually color over them if you really want to, and the gold still shows through. I just colored it with the Tombow and then wiped it off really quickly, and it shows just like it does on the regular. Just options for you. Have where you have the tabs and you don't like the color that they are, you could always make them black, and move on. And this is going to take me a while, so I am super going to speed this up. Okay, there we have all of the tabs. I think they slowly got a little farther and farther out. I might have to move December in a little. It's fun. And then you'll see this journal a couple of more times before we get to the January plan with me. I will come in and do some of the goal setting, and maybe I'll do the quarterly with the January plan with me. Maybe I'll do it separately. I haven't quite made up my mind yet. When we do get to January, we will do the Beth, use your tabs. We will do the January monthly, which right now I am using for memory keeping, so we will see what we do there. We will do the first week of January, and then I will be setting up a cover page style back here where we'll start January, and I can start my daily logs behind that, and that will come in the January plan with me. There will be a coordinating sticker kit for every single month. And again, those are going to be the PDF that you can download, and they're going to be fussy cut. So you can see where I've pilfered out of here whatever I have needed, and I have more of these that I can use to set up additional spaces in this journal as well. But that has gotten us started for my Common Planner setup. Let me know in the comments below, what is your main planner for 2024? What sort of system are you using? Did you make a big switch like I did this year and jump from creating my own bullet journal to now using something that has some structure? I will still be doing a creative bullet journal. I'll be doing the setup for my son Kenny's bullet journal, so stay tuned for those. There will still be a bullet journal setup in that creative style coming every single month. But let me know what you think of the Common Planner. Let me know if you have any really intriguing ideas for this quarterly section beyond maybe just trackers. This is something I'm still exploring. I keep looking at other people's pictures on the internet and what they're using it for and what maybe I might want to use it for. And I still haven't made up my mind, and we're getting really close to when I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to use these for. Don't forget, there is a new Patreon linked down in the show notes. You can also just choose to purchase printables from the Patreon and not become a member as well, if that is something that you would prefer to do. If you like this video, y'all, you know what to do. Please give it a big thumbs up. This is the first one of the setups for 2024. We'll be setting up my son's journal, my reading journal, and my discovery journal, and my dream journal as well. So subscribe if you haven't already for all of that content, and I will catch you in the next one.